Hello everyone. My name is Achille and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if you're new here, then just welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. And if you don't know me, my name is Achille. I'm the owner and founder of shoporiginally.com. I started this YouTube channel back in 2016, and I'm still here today talking about Aboriginal American history. I have talked about Lake Lanier before and its racial past against Black American people. And you can watch it here on the top right corner. You can click the card right here, and it would take you directly to my live video where I talk about Lake Lanier. And I also mentioned to y'all in this video that there are Indian mounds at Lake Lanier too. There is a strong presence in Forsyth County of Aboriginal American history that they did not mention when they talk about Lake Lanier. And I think it's crazy that so many so-called Black people owned so many acres of land, and they owned this land in areas where American Indian mounds were present. And um, and then later on, the mounds in the people are displaced. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that here in the next slide. Okay, so Lake Lanier, officially Lake Sidney Lanier, is a reservoir in the northern part of Georgia. The Beaufort Dam on the Chattahoochee River was completed in 1956. It also fed by the Chestatee River. It was built and is operated by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and they built this for their reasoning for flood control and water supply. The Beaufort Dam was also named after the Confederate Army poet Sidney Lanier. Okay, so originally it was called the Beaufort Dam, and later they called it Lake Lanier or Lake Sidney Lanier. It's the construction of the dam demolished over 50,000 acres of farmland, displacing over 250 Black American families, 15 Black owned businesses, and 20 cemeteries. And the crazy part about it is there are so many videos and photos of cemeteries at Lake Lanier that are underwater, and people are like swimming on top of people graves. And it the disrespect, y'all, the disrespect. Like it's crazy. And what's even crazier is Lake Lanier's dark past. The woman you see on the screen, her name is Sleety Mae Crow. She was allegedly sexually assaulted and murdered by a Black man. Five Black American men were arrested. A mob of thousands lynched a man, Robert Edwards. Ernest Knox and Oscar Daniel. Um, the two of the men were convicted and sentenced to death by hanging. This was the second of two events. The first case involved a white woman who claimed she was sexually assaulted by a Black man. As a result, many Black people were arrested and some were assaulted by white people. Following that, whites harassed and threatened Black people in surrounding counties, and this forced 98% of Black people to flee the region because they feared for their lives. And because they had to flee, their personal property and land um, were never recovered. Okay, they could not redeem their land because it was stolen by the whites, and the whites they took this land without a sale or legal transfer of title. Okay, there were over 1,000 Blacks in the Oscarville community in 1910, but barely um, 30 remained by 1920. Okay, very sad. And now we're going to talk about this mound here. Now, I was not able to find like over the top pictures of this mound, y'all. As y'all may know, um, this mound was not fully excavated, okay? And Joseph Caldwell excavated, um, well, I don't say fully excavated, I mean fully documented. Joseph Caldwell, he excavated the mound, but it was not fully documented, okay? And he mistaken the mound as a early Mississippian platform mound, but it actually turned out to be a late woodland um, mound. It was a mound that was built during the late woodland period, and this was according to the examination of the ceramic collections and a radiocarbon dating of the mound. Okay, and then we also have the Chestatee Cherokee Indian village in northeastern Forsyth County, Georgia. It's located directly west where the Chestatee River meets the Chattahoochee River. Okay. Um, the Cherokee used bonfires along the riverbanks to ignite the torches. The word Chestatee is a Cherokee word that means pine torch place or place of lights. They would use these torches um, to hunt deer and other wild animals. Okay. Booger Bottom gets its name from the white gold miners who, quote unquote, discovered gold in the area during the gold rush. A survey for the Beaufort Dam project was conducted in 1951. During the survey, the Samurier Mound, a massive burial mound, was identified. Before Lake Lanier drowned the mound, and a dig took place for 3 weeks. The mound, which was 250 feet long and 200 feet wide, it was possibly the oldest in southeast Georgia or in Georgia in general. Okay, however, the place of light in Indian Village in Mound is now located at the bottom of Lake Lanier. Okay. Um, the University of Georgia investigated the Summer Mounds in Forsyth County, north of Beaufort Dam, before the lake Lanier was filled with water. Some of Georgia's oldest uh, primordial platform mounds were found here. Pottery from the Swift Creek and Napier cultures were unearthed there. The Napier culture, which lasted from 600 to 900 AD, was responsible for the most of the mound construction. The site was also occupied by a Woodstock culture, which began around 900 AD and lasted for a century. And right here, these are the Swift Creek ceramics, originally reported from the type site near Macon. Kelly and Smith are characterized by a wide range of complicated stamp design motifs, okay, and are common in the southwest Georgia and on the Florida Gulf Coast, where they have been dated between 100 AD and 450 at sites like Mandeville. Okay. Um, the major mistake here um, that some historians put out there is that Forsyth was always the home of Cherokee Indians. Okay. Until 1764, European maps show the Etowah River Valley to be occupied by the I'm sorry if I butcher this name, but Apalachicola, Apalachicola Indians, also known as the Conchaki. I'm sorry if I'm like butchering these names. They were a branch of the Creek Confederacy. From 1764 and 1793, maps show most of northern Georgia being controlled and occupied by the Upper Creeks. However, in reality, thousands of Cherokees poured into northwest Georgia in the 1780s. Numerous texts and even a historical marker describe in the Battle of Taliwa in 1755 that supposedly fought along the Etowah River near the Forsyth Cherokee County line. These texts go on to state that the Cherokees won all of northern Georgia in this battle. The story first appeared in the 1820s when attorney for the Cherokees were trying to stop forced relocation to the Indian Territory. Okay. In fact, the Cherokees lost a series of devastating battles to the Coweta and Upper Creeks during 1754 and 1755. Okay. Their towns and villages in Georgia, southeastern Tennessee, and even a section of Valley in North Carolina were burned. Okay. The Coweta Creeks reclaimed the territory that had been theirs before 1715. Okay. The Cherokees were forced to sue for a peace that ended a 40-year long war. The Northwest Georgia was awarded to the Cherokees by a treaty in 1793. After 1793, some members of other tribes, including the Cherokee, did settle in what was to become Forsyth County. After that date, the territory was officially part of Cherokee Nation until 1838. Okay. But surviving Native American, or should I say, Aboriginal, Indigenous American names, such as Sunni, suggest that it had a multi ethnic indigenous population. Okay, for example, Shawnee, uh, I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce this word. It's Saunee. These how you Sawnee, but it's pronounced Shawnee in Cherokee. Okay. The main body of true Cherokees was concentrated to the west in the Great Appalachian Valley, where the Lower Etowah um, and Coosa rivers flowed. Okay. Okay. And then now we're going to talk about the woodland period peoples. Okay, the woodland period uh, of the region built some small mounds, but most have disappeared due to natural erosion and agriculture, or so they say. Apparently, most mounds were primarily for burials, but may have also supported simple structures that were used for rituals or meetings. They were constructed accretionary. This means that the mounds grew in size over the generations by piling soil and debris from village over recent burials. Okay. Evidence in the Chattahoochee and Flint River Valley suggests that the first Muskogean farmers entered northeast Georgia around 400 BC after migrating from west central Mexico. Okay. And don't y'all always talk about the Mayans in Georgia? I'm just pointing that out there. um, Apparently, they settled in the mountain valleys to the north of Forsyth County. Um, Upper Piedmont was already occupied by ancestors of the Yuchi and Southern Siouans with languages similar to the Katawa. There may have been other ethnic groups whose identities have been concealed by time. Agricultural technology, cultural traditions, and DNA probably blended between these people. Modern Creek Indians may represent a genetic mix of several indigenous ethnic groups. Okay. So that actually concludes this video. I hope that this was very insightful for y'all guys, because it was for me, because when I first learned about Indian mounds in in um in Forsyth County, I was like, oh, I have to check this out. I mean, I just learned that black people were literally being killed and had to flee this area. And now I'm learning that there are indigenous mounds, sites, and artifacts in these areas too, but they are drowned. They're underwater at Lake Lanier. Okay, so bummer, but I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. Actually, what are your thoughts on them actually doing the dam? Because in my personal opinion, I think that they just did it to cover up history and to cover up their tracks. And so when we get to the future, like where we at now, they don't have to give the land and stuff back to the original people, and they don't have to bother with questions like what was found in the mounds, because they didn't even have enough time to like really fully look into the mounds that were at Lake Lanier. So yeah, but thank y'all guys for watching, and until the next time, bye.